Hey, buddy, welcome to Teaching to the Test Pattern. I'm Tom White, and this is our final segment with Faraz Ahmed and Phillip Green. Again, so thankful for those guys for coming and spending an hour or two with me. We hung out in the studio for a little bit, and they kind of broke down what we do, and they watched my kids produce a show, and then we sat down in a conference room for an hour and a half or so and just talked nerdy, which was a ton of fun. Had a great time with those guys and look forward to hopefully doing that again, and we'll dig a little deeper into NDI and maybe do some hands-on TriCaster stuff, whatever that looks like for a podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about vertical video, and that's another thing that's now available inside the TriCaster with premium access. And I don't want this to be a commercial for the TriCaster. It's just that's what these guys sell most, and that's where NDI kind of started. So that's why we're so hard on the TriCaster in our messaging here. But I'm working with TriCaster on our vertical video. I'm going to do a vertical news show. We tried it earlier. Ran into some hurdles. We're working through those. But we're going to talk about that as well as what their company, Phillip and Faraz's company, Amitrace, will or can provide for educators as they are building out new studios and finding out what they need to do. So enjoy this. It is the final of my episodes with Faraz and Phillip on what is NDI.
This is Teaching to the Test Pattern.
Staying on a tangent, let's talk vertical video. What do you see there? Do you see it? I mean, it's TriCaster came out with it in the latest premium access update. I've played with it. I rebuilt my graphics for it. Still working through some issues. What do you guys think? I mean, it may not be what you see at this point, but what do you think about vertical video right now for live productions?
Between my opinion, it's so weird talking about vertical video because you get trained about all this stuff and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is screens are no longer rectangular 16 by 9 like that. With the new panels and LED panels, they can be any size, any way you want to. And so many cool screens are coming out that are that they want to put them vertically, or they've designed an LED wall that's all sorts of different sizes.
Digital signage.
It just makes sense. And so when you shoot video for that, or can design different videos for that, or multi-video walls, if you will, it just gives you a lot of flexibility. And then if social media is the thing. It's in some ways, it's changing it is changing TV. It is. And so much of that is vertical now, or square. It's fun. It's a possibility. It's a creative element.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, you might have more experience with it at this point than I do, because I haven't even had a chance to play with that vertical video yet. However, I'm sensing this moment of where, when 4x3 went away and 16x9 was a thing, right? That moment is kind of starting with me. I'm only 30 years old. I feel like I'm young at this point, but I'm sitting here thinking these kids are about to enter into a new era of video production, because it's all targeted towards your cell phone, not the big TVs anymore. You don't want to see it on a big 60-inch TV. You want to see it right here in the palm of your hand, and that's going to be vertical because you're going to be scrolling through it. I just think it's wild how we've hit that spot, and I've gotten to experience that first and foremost.
When the change from 4x3 to 16x9 and then SD to HD, I don't think those are going to have as big an impact as the vertical, because it changed in terms of the presentation, but it wasn't dramatic. I think that going vertical, and it's something that I fight all the time with other teachers, because I will admit, I was like, I'll never, ever, ever do vertical. And now I'm like, well, that's where my kids are. That's where, where my students are. And if I'm doing an announcement show or doing something that I want my students to watch, I've got to go vertical, because they're not sitting around watching YouTube at home anymore. They're on their phone. And that's something that's very cool. And I think that there's still a long way to go with that.
The creative stuff I've seen with that is where the production's shot so that it looks framed correctly both ways. And so that you can, hold your phone vertically or whatever, and it looks like you just look at it, it looks perfect. And then you hold it, or you flip it horizontal, and it just reframes and looks correct as well. And, actually creatively thinking about it, not just cropping and zooming and, stuff like that, but really creative thinking about it. I've seen some demonstrations of that, which is pretty cool.
By the way, we talked a little bit before we went live with about Adobe and making changes, and their latest with the auto reformat is ridiculous. And we play with it. I haven't used it a lot yet, but I'll have kids just go shoot things. I'm like, hey, let's try this real quick, and flip the button and have it go 9:16, go vertical, and it does a beautiful job.
Wow.
It's crazy. So you're doing a full production, or you do for me, it's a news package, and the only time it messes up is if we're doing our news show, and I try to convert that. It thinks the logo is the most important thing because it's what it sees the most. But everything else we've ever done that we've done and played with, it does a fantastic job. We do basketball highlights. We'll cut them in horizontal, and then go to edit them and just flip the switch. And it, for the most part, does a very good job of keeping that up. So, I think that vertical is something that like you said, we're right on the cusp of seeing a major shift in that. And I had a conversation the other day that my son wants a TV for his room, not for what I wanted a TV. I wanted to play video games and and watch wrestling. He wants it so he can throw his phone on the screen to lay in bed. I'm like, dude, really? You're that lazy that you can't hold your phone? So I think that we covered a good bit.
Yeah, a lot.
I think you got a lot of editing on your hands.
Oh no, dude! The editing on this is just going to be like cut.
Put the whole thing up. Just be like,
oh no, I have
multi-digest.
I'm even going to leave the random announcement in there just so that people know where the meeting is in case they're late for it. So where can we find out more about Amitrace? Where can we find out how to get in touch with you guys?
So absolutely, our website, www.amitrace.com. We've been around for a long time, so what's been exciting is we've actually hit most schools somewhere in our 30 years. We've done something in your county or your school. We'll go back places and we'll see our equipment from 20 years ago. Didn't even realize that we'd already done business with them. And so we're really hoping to be your partner in whatever you're trying to do. Our goal is basically to be your video engineer so that you can focus on teaching and learning. And we handle all the tech stuff for you. Whether it be, you want to get a converter today or a small thing or just want some advice about something, or you're looking to, do an entire package and want to build out your own whole studio, we want to be that resource for you. We just really believe in what the CTA programs do throughout the state. And we want to see these folks succeed.
And just real quick, I just wanted to, do a little shout out. I wanted to say thank you to all the educators that are out there. You guys mean a lot to us, right? A lot of our business comes from the education market, and a lot of you already know who I am, and I appreciate all the love that you guys have been giving me on Facebook and everything like that. I like to take care of my educators because we know that you guys, y'all lead our future. Let's be honest about it. Y'all are the future of this industry because without you, our students wouldn't know what to do, where to go. So just, appreciate all of you guys out there.
And one of the things that I tell people when they ask, why should they call you versus, and I'm going to be blunt, your competitors, a lot of your competitors' video is just a small portion of what they do. They're setting up welding labs and construction labs and engineering labs, whereas you guys are doing video. So that is one of the things that I like to brag on you guys about. And it's especially, we talked about, the dynamic of the new teacher now. And we're based in Georgia, for those who may not be listening out of Georgia. The teachers that we're seeing coming in, they're kind of in a couple of categories. And two of them are the ones that I really feel passionate about. It's the person who is a film person who knows who could make beautiful films, but they get there and their principal goes, I need a news show. And the other is that English teacher, social studies teacher, math teacher who shows up to work on Tuesday, and on Wednesday they're a video production teacher. And those are very drastic things, and they sound like hyperbole, but that's the truth. And then there's cases of that throughout the state of Georgia that I know of specifically, and really around the country. So finding an answer to the what do I buy, what do I get question is a big deal. I was talking with someone the other day, and their school system gave them a sheet and said, pick what you want. And it included VCRs and DAT video cameras and what was it? studio monitors and things like that. I'm like, and the pricing was hilarious. Like it was like a $4,000 studio monitor, and it was like, so that's just one. and I know where that came from. That came from 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when you didn't have a multi-view that you could just put on a $90 HD TV. So I definitely recommend if you're an educator, especially in the Southeast, reach out to these guys. Make sure that they can, you can find someone to help you get the right stuff, because that's the worst thing that can happen. Is you purchase the wrong stuff, and then you lose your credibility with your administrators, you lose your credibility with your kids, and it's just that self-doubt in a situation where you're already full of self-doubt as an educator, a new educator. So definitely reach out to these guys. Well,
And for us, it's a lot less about the equipment and a lot more about the training, right? We totally get it that you can buy this equipment anywhere, but when you purchase the equipment from us, we're going to train you. The way we get more business is if you have a successful news show. When you produce a good news show, win awards, tell your friends, tell everyone, they're going to want to do the same thing. So that's our ultimate goal from day one is how do we train you? How do we train your students? How do we get your amazing show going? And so all our equipment, all our packages have training built in.
Well, the bigger picture is that, we're there from the start. We come in and we assess the situation first, and then we develop this plan with you. We don't just say, well, here's our base package, enjoy this, and then we'll train you on it. No, we come in and we say, oh, well, you already have this camera, that camera, you already got this switcher, this monitor. This is all you really need, right? We're not here to nickel and dime you for every little piece of equipment that we can possibly throw your way. We're here to make sure that your vision comes true, from whatever your budget might be.
I wish I had called you guys. My life would have been a lot
I think that was
easier.
one of the questions I asked you when you were texting me on Facebook. I'm like, did you buy anything from us?
No, my situation was different. I mean, I blessed to have had the experiences that I had, and I didn't do that. But yeah, there were times where I was like, I just wish I should have just called somebody else. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out and spending some time with us. Anything you want to say to close? Anything that I think we covered pretty much everything we could cover on NDI and with random topics.
Scary enough, if we just kept going, we might have dinner here in a little while.
Well, we could arrange that. We actually have a basketball game starting right now. I can go get you some sausages.
So $20 an hour. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. It's great. I appreciate it, and hopefully, for our listeners, there's something that they got from it. Whether they're a new teacher, has no idea what NDI is, no idea what a TriCaster is, or an experienced teacher who's like, I know what it is, but how do I use it? So that's my hope and goal with this.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one.
Teaching to the test
There
pattern.
it is, the final installment of my conversation with Faraz Ahmed and Phillip Green from Amitrace. And I hope it wasn't too much of a commercial for you. I don't want this to become that, but I do want you to know that if you need those type things, these guys exist, and they do a very good job of taking care of educators. I know personally of a lot of the stuff that they have done for other educators. I didn't use them, and like I said in one of the earlier episodes, I really wish that I had. But they came out and donated probably 2 hours of their time just in the recording of the podcast. They probably drove 150, 200 miles round trip. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was just 150 or so a round trip. But they really did. They really have done a lot of good stuff for education, and I want to make sure that I thank them, and I can't thank them enough for what they did for coming out here and doing this show. And I want to thank my sponsor, SchoolVideoNews.com, for their continued support. If you're into sports broadcasting, if you scroll down to the bottom of the SchoolVideoNews.com homepage, there's a special issues button on the left, and if you go down to sports broadcasting, there's an entire section that's just about producing sports, and you can go check that out. It's updated about once a year. There's a ton of content there, anchoring and doing play-by-play. There's production and broadcast and writing and reporting and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you go check that out if that is your thing and you are headed into the spring sports season. Again, thank you so much for listening. I couldn't and wouldn't do it without you. I hope that it is worth your time to listen to the shows. And if there's something you want me to cover, hit me up on Facebook. If there's something that you really like or you really like the show, share it with your friends. Tell them what's up with it. And again, thank you so much for listening. And as always, go make something awesome today.